The Jimmy Z Show.
All right, next on the Jimmy Z Show, I want to bring Debra JM Smith on because we were talking on the phone. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jimmy.
We were talking on the phone about this idea of yours, a couple of great ideas in terms of Christian businesses dealing with homosexuals. And this, we're talking about the baker, of course, but this will apply to any business that is doing any kind of wedding work and may have to deal with homosexuals. And we have a way, or you have a way, a couple of great ways for Christian businesses to go ahead and work with homosexuals at their wedding and testify to their faith and testify to what they believe and probably make it so that homosexuals really don't want to do business with those Christians anyway.
Yes. And these are often, I believe they are businesses that have like the little fish. They have something letting it be known that they're Christian in their establishment.
No, that's what I believe. I believe that something is going on where I think these guys in Colorado did this on purpose. They selected this baker on purpose, and they wanted to make a big stink. And so now the first thing we talked about yesterday, which I thought was a great idea, is that you could have a slogan on your van or your delivery truck and on the packaging. So if you deliver a cake and it's in a big box, you can have this slogan that says "one man, one woman" in quotation marks, and that if somebody's going to do business with you, fine, you'll make them a cake, but all over the packaging, all over the van, all over the uniforms, if somebody's wearing a shirt that says ABC Bakery, it's going to say "one man, one woman."
Yes, absolutely. And if I still just cringe to think that photographers would be forced to go to the actual place of the ceremony and reception. I still say we need to fight this. However,
sure,
in the meantime, have it wear something that you wear on it. It says "one man, one woman," or "Jesus is Lord." Believe and be saved. Something. And now, if you are taking pictures at a Christian wedding, they shouldn't mind this at all. I mean, I'm not saying put it boldly on your back, but just somewhere. It could just be on the down by the cuff of your sleeve, even.
Or you could even have a camera strap made custom, and it could just have on the camera strap, it could say "one man, one woman," whatever. It's whatever you want to do. It can be subtle, but it can be, "This is the way I do business." And you could even show them when they come into your studio and they want to hire you as a photographer. You could say, "Well, this is my equipment. If you don't have any problem with that, then I'd be happy to do business with you."
Right. I mean, I don't know if I'd say happy, but I will comply.
But we're going to say, yes. I say be as friendly as possible, but show them up front. Now, the second idea you had after I did my show yesterday, you sent me an email, and I talked about it earlier on my program today. This idea, I think, is fabulous. And you and I have been talking on the phone, and we kind of honed it into perfection, I think, is that you have, if somebody's going to order your cake, they're going to have to pay a deposit up front. Same thing for a DJ, same thing for a florist, same thing for a photographer, and probably for a wedding planner as well. You sign a contract, and on the contract, it's going to say somewhere near the bottom, we give a portion of our proceeds go to pro-life, pro-family, pro-traditional marriage organizations, and organizations that help homosexuals out of that lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
perfect.
You might even be able to say that, by signing this, you are becoming a partner with us in this.
Or you can even tell them and say, look, this is what our business does. We give whatever the number would be. 5% of our proceeds go to these organizations. As long as you don't have a problem with it, we can do business. But it's up to you. It's up to you. Our answer is yes. We would be happy to be the photographer. We'd be happy to be the florist, or we're going to bake a cake for you. But just so long as you understand up front that you're going to be partnering with us, because a portion of our proceeds go to these organizations that you hate.
Right, and even the photo paper on the back of every photo could say "one man, one woman, Jesus is Lord." Well, because if they're a Christian business already, like I used to know a guy who owned a car place where you go get your car fixed, like oil. I think it was more like oil changes and stuff, and he had all kinds of stuff about Jesus all over his place because he's a Christian and he wanted it to be.
And you can put it on
for him to testify.
You can put it on that little sticker that tells you what the mileage is going to be when you need to have your car oil changed again.
Yeah. And so you wherever, and if it's on the back, well, get this. I don't know if you've ever seen this on pictures, but down on the bottom right, on I can't remember the name of the place, but I think they're national. You'd see the name of the business. It kind of like on a water stamp, but it's down in the bottom right corner, kind of on an angle.
Yeah, on the
and
print.
Right there, you can have the name of the photography, the photographer, and then right under, one man, one woman.
Well, and you know how on websites, when somebody has a bunch of proofs to look at and all the proofs have a watermark, and it might say ABC Photography, but it could also say ABC Photography, one man, one woman.
Yes.
And it's like that at every wedding, for every wedding photo montage, all of the websites that give people a chance to go through the pictures and order their prints. And it doesn't matter who it is, if it's a straight wedding or it's a homosexual wedding, it's always going to have the same thing, because you cannot be discriminatory.
Right.
And so
you can't get sued if it's like the people that have the fish, put one man, one woman, and then the little fish underneath if they feel, more comfortable doing that. But get it in there somehow, some way, so that the homosexuals are uncomfortable, so that they come to the point where they say, well, we don't want you to include that. And you say, well, that's what we do for everyone. That's
what we do for everyone. You could even put the Bible verse, Leviticus 18:22. And just put the reference there on the proofs.
Well, you do have to keep in mind that there are going to be people who are Christians, one man, one woman, who are getting married, and they might not want to have Leviticus written on their stuff.
Well,
because
that's
the
true.
Implication could be that they're doing something
absolutely
wrong.
Well, the one man, one woman is certainly more appropriate and going to be more acceptable to more people.
Yes, I mean, and have a sign in your establishment saying, "We celebrate one man, one woman."
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And
if you want to do business with us, that's great. Now, we also talked about this other angle, which is privately. Publicly on the receipt, it's going to say that a portion of our proceeds go to these organizations. But then if a person is a Christian, like a photographer, and he's really repulsed, as I would be, because I'm a part-time photographer, and I wouldn't want to take pictures at a homosexual wedding, but if I was forced into it, and I had to do this business with homosexuals, and they knew up front that I was a one-man, one-woman photographer, then I might say, okay, look, I'm going to make this personally between me and God. When the money comes in and I get paid $700 for doing those pictures, I'm going to take that $700 and I'm going to give it all to my church, or I'm going to give it all to a pro-life organization or whatever. That way, I don't have to feel like I made a profit that was, I'll probably keep the expense. Like you said, that was a great idea. But I'm not going to have to give up my convictions. I can take the profit and do something good with it instead of using it for myself.
Right, because you're being forced to do this by your government. You're not doing it of your own will.
Right.
Sadly, they're stomping on our constitutional rights to no forced servitude. They are forcing businesses to serve homosexuals against the business owner's will. But they're doing it. You can't earn a living if you don't do it, because they can take you to court and sue you.
Yeah.
So
well, and I want you to explain, Deborah, because I tried to give a little overview of what your viewpoint was. But how do you answer people who say that this is the same thing as if you were saying to a black person who came in, or an Asian or a Native American who came into your business, and you said, "I'm sorry, I don't do Asian American weddings"?
Well, I don't know if how you feel about this, but I feel as though everyone should have a right to not serve someone they don't want to serve, even if it has to do with race or sex. I mean,
right.
if I go into a restaurant and someone doesn't want to serve me because I'm white, I'm American, I'm a woman, I'd rather know that they don't want to serve me than to go in and eat the food that they would prepare.
Sure.
And as a customer who's not a racist, I'd like to know if an establishment would refuse to serve blacks, Hispanics, Asians, if they would only serve white people, because I don't want to go into their restaurant.
Right.
I want to know.
If that was a restaurant in your neighborhood and you and your husband like to go there, and then you found out, well, they're not serving black people, they're turning black people away, you're going to stop going there.
Exactly.
But so I have no problem with that. Unfortunately, we are where we are, and the law has been established, and any business that turns away a black couple is going to get sued on the basis of civil rights. So my question is, what do you say to people who say that, well, you can't turn away a homosexual couple because you cannot turn away a black couple?
Well, if they don't understand that a lot of the civil rights are unconstitutional, what you can say the fact that it's not a sin to be black. It is a sin to be a homosexual. The activity that they do is a sin.
Right.
And that also infringes on our faith belief. But then some people will say that some people have a faith belief that they don't have anything to do with someone out of their race. And, again, I would have to come back to saying that constitutionally, a lot of the civil rights shouldn't even have been.
Right. And I do agree with that. But I also think that we've got an issue here that sexuality and the choice that you make, because I don't care who you are, every time you pull your pants down, that's a choice. The choice you make to have sex is not on the same level as the color of your skin.
Right.
The color of your skin is part of is a part of your humanity. And the homosexual lobby, the homosexual activists and supporters of homosexuals are going to tell you that the kind of sex they have is a part of their humanity as well. However,
right, but it's not our government's business to tell us what's okay and what's not okay,
right,
in our conscience.
Well, and I don't want to get too specific here, but straight people have different kinds of sex as well. Should we be looking into that kind of sex, and then a baker may decide that he thinks something that two people who are married are doing in their bedroom is disagreeable to him. The problem there is that in marriage, it's their business. And in fact, none of this would be happening if homosexuals were not making their sex lives a part of the public discourse and a part of all this discussion in public. I don't really care what people do behind closed doors. I'm sure some of my friends might engage in something that I don't particularly like or think is right, but that's their business. Once the homosexuals made their sex lives a part of our business, then we have not only a right to speak out, but we have a responsibility as Christians to speak out.
Yes, and I think that if there's a way to do it in your business that you own as your business, I think it's a great idea to. And here's another thought. Maybe we could get something going where, or someone could get something going where there's actually an organization, one man, one woman, where businesses that are owned by Christians could become a member of. And then you actually have something in your place of business where it's posted, I'm a member of one man, one woman,
yep.
USA or whatever, something where people are basically saying we're only serving homosexuals in their marriages because our government at this time is stomping on our rights. Almost like a statement that's basically, when you're a member of this, you are making a statement. I do not agree with what my government's doing. It's wrong, but I don't want to spend years in court. I don't want to lose my business. So I'm going to do it until we can do something about it and get this overturned, or what do you do to get laws undone?
We'll worry about that later, but what you're saying is it's a great idea, because on the window in the front of your store where you have the little logos there for Visa or MasterCard, you can have this logo that's about 4 inches square, and it says, I'm a member of one man, one woman.
Yes, and then and some of the proceeds can go to that organization even that is working on getting the laws made or changed or whatever that's needed to acknowledge our constitutional rights to refuse to serve homosexuals. Yeah, we have that right.
At first, it could just be an organization that gathers up a small percentage, or however it's going to be, an annual dues or whatever, and that organization represents the people who are members of that organization and tries to change the law, but in the meantime are supporting those people as a group, and it becomes almost kind of a United Way type of thing, where all these people are a member. I'm kind of getting off track here, but I know exactly what you're saying, and that is another great idea.
Yeah, they're making a united statement that we disagree with what we're being forced to do, and money can also be used to educate people to say, look, the homosexuals claimed that they wanted us out of their business, that they just wanted to get married like heterosexuals want to get married. That's none of our business, blah, blah, blah. But the minute they got married, look at what happened. Now businesses are being forced to do business with their marriages.
Yeah, and
schools are teaching it to children. Parents in some schools are not even being able to opt their children out of those classes because schools are saying, oh no, homosexual marriage is legal in this state, so we must teach it to your children, your Christian children.
And in Colorado, when they enacted, Colorado does not allow homosexual marriage, but it does allow, in a new law this year, I read this earlier in the show, in a new law this year, Colorado allows civil unions, but there is no protection for businesses who don't want to play a part in this. There's no protection for Christians. There's no conscience clause.
Mm-hmm. Hey, here's amazing. A good idea. I'm just full of them today. On the cuff idea, okay? Isn't there an expression that says...
Well, hold on here, because you didn't really explain. That was something we were talking about off the air. But we were talking about, say, a photographer who's taking pictures at a wedding could have some kind of slogan on the cuff of his sleeve. It doesn't have to be big, but it's just there, and people will notice it. One
man, one woman, the little fish underneath, which...
Right.
To me, says Jesus is Lord, It could even say Jesus is Lord inside the fish, Isn't, the saying to wear your heart on your sleeve?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, people who are a member of this group, that could be part of it, that they have this thing that basically just goes around the cuff. Somehow it goes on the cuff of what they're wearing. And I think that somewhere in the paperwork where the person is signing, that there has to be some wording that says, this is part of our uniform. This is wherever it's going to be, you have to spell it out. Wherever your little logos are going to be for one man, one woman, you have to put it in the writing for the agreement where they sign, that they're acknowledging it, so that they can't turn around and sue you later.
Yeah,
they
well,
have to,
all it has to do,
spell it out to them.
All it has to do is be printed on the contract. You don't even have to point it out. It's up to the signator on the contract to read the contract. And it's going to say right there on the contract below the total, in parenthesis or however it wants to be, it's going to say a portion of our proceeds go to the one man, one woman organization. And people can look it up or not. It doesn't matter.
But I think somewhere in it they should say, and our uniform, we wear our heart on our sleeves. Our uniforms, have it on it as well. And you are acknowledging that you understand this and you accept this. So that they can't, even the pictures, like if you have them on the pictures somewhere, again, put it in the paperwork where they're signing, where they're acknowledging this. I would tell them so that they have an option to opt out.
Well, they can. The owner can make it very simple, and say that all of our material, all of our packaging, all of our uniforms, make a statement about our beliefs and the fact that we are not big fans of this kind of wedding, but if you want us there, we'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, we're the best in town, and we'll do a great job.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's, and the most they can do is turn around and try and sue you saying you did a bad job, but then they got to prove you did a bad job, and you just always make sure you take pictures of everything and you have proof that you did a good job.
You show up and you do a great job. Well, now I'm completely out of time. So I want to thank you for coming on, Deborah. I think these are great ideas, and I hope that businesses start doing something like this because they can protect themselves, and at the same time, if the homosexuals are going to hire them anyway, the businesses can take the money and do some good with it.
And Scripture says that God will always show us a way out of our troubles, and He also tells us to be clever as a serpent. See, we always know the gentle part. We're supposed to be gentle, but there's clever as a serpent.
And people, so far, people have not been clever.
Yeah, we need to get clever.
All right, thanks, Deborah.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
The Jimmy Z Show.